testing my faith.
If it can't be tested, it's not faith.
Yeah, it's faith. Yeah, you know, I still believe.
But well, you see, it's
Like you said in the prayer.
yes,
It's nothing for the Lord.
yes, it's well, that's absolutely true. You see, this is it. It's and why God does things or doesn't do things is His ways are not our ways.
Yes, amen.
You know.
You know, maybe I think sometimes.
Yeah, you see, I find it's often difficult. Finding God's will, finding guidance is easier preached than found sometimes.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's just understanding what is going on is not easy. And we're not very good at waiting. So we're not. You know, when God says that a day is like 1,000 years, or 1,000 years of a day to Him, you know, we are sort of limited to time and space. That God sees already the end from the beginning. You know, it's the eternal now for Him, but we're just locked into this time and space.
Yeah.
And if it's His purpose to have a building there, there'll be a building there.
Man.
Yes. You know?
Yes.
I think just sometimes it's hard to understand. You know, I don't know about you and your situation. I would imagine that here, you know, there are times when you wonder, does God just want me to have faith, just to pray and depend completely on Him, that He will open the door?
Absolutely.
I'd once contemplated. It's unlikely I'll be doing it this time, but I've been reading and studying Elisha. Elisha is not as popular as Elijah,
right?
But in 1 Kings 19 you find I suppose is the call of Elisha when Elijah comes and throws the mantle on him,
right?
And basically what you find in 1 Kings 19 is that Elisha is out doing his normal day's work.
Right.
He hasn't even.
He was blowing actually.
It doesn't say anything, you know, because as you say, he's looking after the two oxen, the 12th pair, and he's ploughing away, just doing his order. Now, there must have been some occasion when Elisha understood that God had a purpose for him. But having understood that, he just got on with his work, and no doubt he prayed and just waited on the Lord. And as an old friend of mine used to say, the Lord knows your address. You don't have to keep reminding Him of it.
No.
And indeed, you don't have to keep telling other people of it. And Elisha just waits, and the next thing Elijah's told by God, go and do this, and just an ordinary day out ploughing the field, and in steps Elijah, in steps God, and he's called, and he's not the same from that moment onwards. But at other times, you see, it's like the people of Israel that, you know, when you come to the Jordan, you know, the waters aren't going to stack up until you put your foot in the water. And often it's knowing which one is the appropriate thing for the circumstance. Does God want me to wait on Him and Him entirely? Or does God want me to take a step of faith and get my feet wet? And I'm afraid that's not an easy answer to give.
Yes, sir.
I wish I could say with absolute guarantees that I could tell you exactly when is the right time to put a foot in the water, and when's the right time to keep it out.
Amen.
Because I have made mistakes in the past of trying to help God along the way.
Everybody does that. You know, even I.
Yeah.
You know, I was in that situation, but the Lord enlightened me.
Yes.
Spoke to me.
Yeah.
You know, opened my eyes so wide.
Yeah.
So you know, whatever you say.
Yeah.
You know, I understand.
Well, I was talking to someone else there last week about a very good friend of mine. And I was 10 years in the Baptist church as a pastor in Ireland.
Sir.
And there was a friend of mine called Ken Humphreys.
Okay.
And I remember Ken talking to me, very sadly one time. Ken had been the pastor of one of our churches in a place called Monkstown Baptist Church, and he'd been there well, almost 7 years, and he just received and accepted a call to another church in Cookstown.
Okay.
And it happened to be one of the pastors fraternal that he was talking to me, and he was telling me, no, Aidan, I made a mistake 7 years ago.
Wow.
He says, I came to the Monkstown Baptist Church, I preached in it, they issued a call to me, and I accepted the call very quickly.
Okay.
He says, but the next thing, having accepted the call to Monkstown, I received a phone call from another church, Carrickfergus Baptist Church, and they asked me to come and preach, and I went and preached. And after I preached with them, they actually invited me to talk with them, and they asked me would I be interested in a call to their church. And he said, you know, I knew instantly that that's where God wanted me to go.
Amen.
But he says, I felt morally obliged to
the earlier church.
I'd given my word, and I felt I needed to keep that word. He says, so I declined Carrickfergus, knowing that that's the church God wanted me to go to. And I went to this other church because I'd given my word and I didn't want to go back in that word.
Yeah.
But he said, the Lord gave me 7 fallow years in that church. He says, I have felt nothing but being under judgment since I came to this church because I didn't listen to what God told me. And you know, so there's a lot of these things that that we sort of
well, we are now
we must consider.
We are now going to my small apartment. You would pray there.
Oh yes.
And then from there you would go to the hotel, check in.
That's fine.
And a while the rest. Before which time we would get ready.
Amen.
To take you.
That's fine.
Abai, wajna mane?